My name is Dawn Myers. I am a 51-year-old hereditary amyloidosis survivor. Back in 2003, I decided to get a genetic diagnosis, and I was diagnosed with hereditary amyloidosis, the same type that my mother had. And so I knew what to watch out for. I knew what age it would come about. I was a caregiver for my mother, and in turn, my mother was a caregiver for her own mother. And my grandmother was a caregiver for what would be my great-grandmother. So there's 4 generations of caregivers to patients that occurs every 10 to 15 years. There are 120 known strains, and my strain is part of a small subset termed oculoleptomeningeal. It is a strain that does have neuropathy and autonomic dysfunction. I remember getting out of bed one morning and feeling like, God, my feet feel like they're on fire and my hands feel numb. And it just felt like I had this almost totally logical voice in my head saying, these are your early symptoms. I've read them in so many different research papers described in a clinical sense, but living it was surreal. You know, in the summertime I would go out and do things with our family, and if I was in the sun too long, my feet felt like they were on fire. I literally needed to step away out of the sunlight. I could do one errand, when typically, you know, on the weekends it was burning through 3 or 4. One, and I had to go home because I was exhausted. I had to measure my energy output so that I could make it through the day. And then my kids were young, so I knew I needed to be there for them, but then take a nap at 5 o'clock. So in getting from my initial diagnosis to treatment was from 2015, fall of 2015, to the summer of 2017 when I was accepted into the early access protocol so I could get treatment out of a hospital at Oregon Health Science University in Portland, Oregon. And I flew there every 21 days for about 6 months until I could get a local hospital where I could go for my infusions. Within 3 months, I noticed improvement. And at first the specialist kind of like, really? Are you sure? And it was a constant reassuring of, this is what I'm feeling inside my body. And it wasn't until 6 months in, they could see that I was indeed getting better, and it felt like I had my life back. I could do 3 errands in a day. I could even start thinking about going back to work again and being a teacher. That was something I wanted to do. So I no longer was a bystander in my own life. I feel like I've been untethered, essentially. Getting a shot every 3 months, pretty spectacular. It has allowed me to make long-term life decisions and have a life outside of just being a patient. I'm a patient, but I'm also many other things now, which feels incredibly empowering. My advice would be to bring someone with you who is your support. Also bring in someone who has been a caregiver so that they can be your additional eyes and ears. It is very scary stepping into this rare disease world and knowing that you will be a lifelong patient. There's treatment but no cure. I don't think I would be where I am without ARC. I was very fortunate to get in early to be a patient speaker and get involved in patient perspective or roundtables, and I felt like I never said no because I wanted to be at the table to discuss why the patient perspective is so important. ARC opened up so many doors for me to talk with these therapeutic companies and tell them this is what we as a patient need, and also give me the power to be my own advocate. It's a pretty comprehensive place that is remarkable in the rare disease community.